Here we go. Cool. Let's start our community call and the Ask Me Anything session. This week, we're going to focus on the Explorer tool that we have built on BrightID. It has lots of amazing features. It helps you track yourself in the social graph that is being created by BrightID users and their connections. I think it would be a nice idea for one of us. I think Adam would be the best to tell us a brief introduction to what this actually is, so everyone has a clear idea of what we are talking about. And I know there are lots of new features added to it. And later on, let's focus on learning about those new features. But Adam, would you tell us what this Explorer tool actually is and what it shows?
Yeah, I would like to know who wants to, who's willing to show us their portion of the graph that they see. So I'll show you on the app how you get to this, but I think it'd be nice if someone shared their screen and showed us what the Graph Explorer looks like. So I'll show you how to get to it from the. So while one of you is doing that, I don't know, Paslar, you gave me a thumbs up. Does that mean you want to show your giant section of the graph that you know about? Or, okay, he's sharing his screen. So yes, wow, that's amazing. So I'm noticing that, is it just going to take a long time to load up the pictures for the, there they are, they're starting to come in. Yeah. Yeah, so Paslar's been making lots of connections with lots of people because that's what he does. And so this is just amazing to see like how he's just this focal point for the graph. There's other people like that too. I've got hundreds of connections as well, just from, meeting people, making connections. I don't even do I don't have like a scheduled time that I do it. I just, whenever I meet people, I connect with them, and I've accumulated many connections. And look, there I am in the graph too. So anyways, yeah, so this graph tool is interesting because you can learn about the state of the network. And it's interesting for people that are studying how to analyze the graph for Sybils, because you can look at things like where the seed groups are and how they're performing. So, and I think that that's the new feature that Matt is going to show us later, some of the new statistics around seeds. But let's go, since we're talking about statistics, let's go back to open up that left menu again and look at some of the statistics that we can see. So scroll down. There we go, statistics. Okay, number of nodes. That's basically the number of BrightID users. And most are verified, which is good. 10,000, almost 11,000 have been verified. There's 109 seeds. And then the average person has 4 connections. And when you consider some of like the super connectors, probably bringing the averages way up. It's probably less than that for your real average user. Probably has fewer than 4, which we really need to bring that up, because we need more people to connect to people that they really know and set up social recovery. That's really important, because to me, a BrightID doesn't feel like a real BrightID until you have social recovery, because you could lose it. So we're trying to encourage our user base to don't just come to a connection party and connect with Pasla or whatever, or whoever you find there, but come to or connect with people that you really trust in the real world, that you really know and trust. That's what BrightID is really supposed to be about. And then set them up to be your social recovery connections. so that when you, if you lose your BrightID, you can get it back by just reconnecting to those recovery connections. So pick some people you really trust. If they're not on BrightID, you get them onto BrightID, help them sign up, and so that you can make a connection with them. Even if they don't care about using any of the BrightID apps yet, they're helping you out by being your social recovery connection. So we need more of those. If you look at the colors on the graph, you can see the recovery connections are blue. So some people are doing a good job. It looks like Possilar is serving as the recovery connection for a lot of people, which is not great. You don't want Possilar to be your recovery connection. Actually, you want some people and like that really well to be your recovery connection. So we got to improve that. And I'm colorblind, so I'm not the best person to interpret this graph. So maybe someone else can talk about it.
Yeah, I want to, before we move on, I want to mention a couple of things. First of all, before I could even see my own picture, I needed to log in to this Explorer. Before that, it would be just the dots and the lines between them. I'm going to log out so you can see the state of the graph when you are not logged in. This is actually what you see when you click on the link of the social graph, just to take a look at it. And it's obvious that no one has any information to your data here. No one sees anybody's picture. No one sees anybody's the nickname on BrightID here. But when I log in, which I can do that with my BrightID account. What do we call it, Adam, in the app?
We call it your Explorer code.
Explorer code, yes. So everyone
we should
has
back up. After you do this, we'll back up and we'll show what the mobile app view looks like.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that before logging in, you don't see any pictures, you don't see any names in the graph. And as soon as you log in with your Explorer code that you can find in the app, and with your password that you set in the app, you only see your own picture and name and the pictures and names of people that you have made a connection to. Only those. You don't see other people, you don't see other nodes that are here that are being shown in gray. But these people that I've connected to, it's taking a long time to show those pictures because I have thousands of connections. For you, it must be really quickly. But yeah, you only see the pictures and names of people that you have a connection to, that you basically see in your app as well. But you don't have access to other people's names and pictures. Sorry to interrupt you, Adam.
No, thank you for saying that. I was going to say, why don't we show, if you want to stop sharing your screen, or if you're able to share your mobile phone screen, that's even better.
I don't think so.
I'm not able to do that at the moment, but I can hold up my mobile phone. So if we...
I can do that for you. I'll do that, but let me know what to show. Yeah.
Yeah, so, well, I'll do it since I know what I want to show.
Cool.
So let's spotlight me for a minute and just so I'll show. Okay, so when you go to your profile, you can see that you've got a password that you can set up, and that's the password you'll enter for the Explorer tool. So remember your password. Well, you can change your password, you don't have to remember. And that password, just so you know, that's not going to let someone steal your BrightID. That social recovery that I talked about is how you recover your BrightID. And that's a much better way as long as you choose good recovery connection. So make sure you do that, because that's what you need to get everything back. So anyways, you have your password is just for the names and photos. That's how those names and photos are loaded in into the Graph Explorer view, is because that's what the password is encrypting, is those names and photos. So if you go to the Explorer code, so there's something else. So that's the profile. that I was just looking at that have my password. Then I go to Explorer code. So that one, Explorer code. And this, you know, you can try mine, but it's not going to get you anywhere because you don't know my password. But you'll see yours on there and you can just copy it. There's a copy button. And then there's the link to open up the that website that we were just looking at, explorer.brightid.org. I will caution that I mean, we can try it right now. Let's see how it loads on a mobile phone. But I think it's going to be slower on the mobile phone than on the slower to load on the mobile phone than on a computer. So, but you can try. There it is. It took a while to show up, and it's not animating very fast. But you can try doing it on your mobile phone. You can try doing it on a laptop. So, you know, you can poke around and see and look at statistics and look at parts of the graph. And most users don't need to do that. But if you are involved with the seed effort, which I think we should talk a little bit about, especially when Maddie gets here. We'll talk about the seed effort, but if you're involved in the seed effort, then the graph becomes very important to you. If you're involved with deciding where the pre-selected trusted parts of the graph are, then it's very important to be able to look at the graph and kind of know where you are. So maybe we could go back to your shared screen again, Paslar, and look at some of the seeds. He's giving me a thumbs up, so I'm going to unspotlight myself. There we go. Oh, you're muted.
I was saying that I missed the days that I was able to share my whole screen. Now I have to search for the screen that I want to share.
Okay, so let's look at some seeds, some seed groups. So I think you'll need the menu on the left side. Or maybe, yeah, there you go. It's that drop down. So if you do the drop down. So right now we're looking at all of BrightID verified people. But scroll down to even further. So regions is what they're called in this view. So let's look at one of these. You just pick any of them.
Sure.
Pick one with a cool name. Pick POAP.
Yes.
Let's see how they're doing with their seed group. So it's going to find it. It's going to like find where in the graph it is.
Yeah, it's just those couple little green dots. We definitely need to improve on that aspect. Like when you pick a region, you should be able to like really see that region.
Oh, okay. So all we're seeing is two green dots that we can.
Yeah, there's a few more.
Oh, I see another one, but yeah, you're right.
I'm looking for Patricio here because I'm sure that I have a connection with Patricio.
Another problem, if you know the person and therefore have them in a circle, it doesn't do anything to their picture.
Does it doesn't even give them an outline or anything?
No, it doesn't do anything if you are connected to them. So,
okay, so we're not well. Maybe if you click on one of those nodes, I don't know. But anyways, I see a bunch more showing up in different places now. But that's their seed. And so
I'm trying to
you can
I'll fix it. I'll go back to
see how their seed is connecting to different places and different people. Their seed members. And yeah, so if you click on
I clicked on
so if you click on a node, you can see yeah, so let's yeah, if you click on a node, you can see who they're connected to, which seeds they're connected to. So the node that you're looking at right now is connected to the POAP seed and the BrightID star seed. Okay.
I think if I go to the groups page in the menu, I can see the members. Like right now, someone is talking in the
I just
background.
muted. I just muted them.
Thank you. Yeah. When I clicked on the POAP in here,
Hmm.
then I went to the menu in the groups and I can see the members. And
Okay.
I'm actually a member of the POAP group. And I'll tell you why I
Congratulations.
can't get out of there, because I need to do that, but it's impossible for me.
You can't get out.
Superfizz
You're
is
trying to
one of
like,
the
well, you can't
members.
do it, but they can kick you out.
They should kick me. That's the thing. Yeah,
You can't kick yourself out, I guess. They have to
I
kick you.
can't get out of there. Yeah,
They
need
don't
to
want
kick me
you.
out.
They don't want you to leave.
Yes, but we can see
Users connected to
Superfizz is a
this seed
member.
group, 1,150. So that's pretty amazing. Maybe when you leave, that number will drop by a lot. But that's you can kind of get a feel for how well the seed group is doing. And when Madi comes, he's going to show us the new seed. There's actually, I think it's a hidden URL, and I think I know what it is. So we can probably pull it up right now. But let me paste that URL for you, Paslar, so that we can look at some of the new seed statistics that we have and see how our seed groups are doing. So about the seed effort, it's all about choosing pre-trusted locations in the graph where the trust flows from. It doesn't mean that just because you belong to a seed group that you're automatically going to be verified. But what it does mean is that that people connecting with you and will have an easier time getting verified. And so we need to be careful about where seeds are placed, and we need to monitor how they're doing and make sure that they're performing well. So that's probably the most important use for this tool. But there may be other uses in the future. Who knows? We'll see. So let me share that that URL with you. I think he shared it in Graph Explorer. So yes, /seeds. So let's open that up and look at some of the
BrightID.org/seeds, right?
/seeds. Yep. And let's look at what some of the interesting work that Maddie's been doing. So here we can see all our seeds. And instead of the graph view, now we're looking at how well they're performing. We're looking at who they're connecting to, like how many users are using them. But I think a useful view might be if we look at, because this is overall and it's by month, I think you can select and zoom in. So try zooming in on something like maybe more, yeah, anywhere, but I was thinking maybe more recent. Or you can pick one of them. You can pick one of them too.
Clicked on POAP. Hello, Maddie.
Hello. Sorry to be late.
That's fine. We're looking at the work that you did. This is nice.
You can click on some part of the graph and drag the mouse to select the part that you want to zoom in.
So if I like, let's go for Dow square or Lex Dow. Let's go for Lex Dow. If I click on it and drag, what is it showing me now?
You can leave the mouse now. You can zoom to select a period of time to have a better view of a specific period of time. For example, a month. And
I see.
Below you can turn on or turn off one of the seed groups. For example, I always, for example, if you select the April and March, you can see that which group is that pink that has lots of area. You can turn off the seed group that has many connections to be able to better see the performance of other seed groups.
I see. Let's go ahead and select one of them that I think has been. Let's go ahead and select POAP, which we were reviewing before. So this is the, I just clicked on POAP, and then let's go from March to, is it being selected by itself, or should I do something with the graph?
So I think
It's the other way
you're
around.
deselecting
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So you'd have to click on all the other ones to remove them and just have pull up.
That makes sense. Let's do that. Which I think should be in reverse, vice versa. And there you go. Now we have the POAP and what they've been doing. I think this is the start of POAP being integrated or having a seed group in BrightID seed group. And then they had lots of connection parties in their own community. And then after about a month or maybe more than a month, they were having fewer people making connections to them. And if I click like here, October 20th, and then drag it to November 20th, I can see it zoomed in, right?
Yes, you can zoom.
Yeah, it looks like they had an uptick again about the time that we did our AMA with POAP. That I think more people
Yes.
from BrightID came over and tried it out. So that's good.
Here, yeah. March 14th or something like that. That was the beginning going to now. I see. And the number that is being shown is the number of people who have been connected to this seed group, right?
Yes.
The number of the number of the new connections that seed group that members of that seed group made over time.
Yes.
I see.
I am applying some changes, adding new features to this graph. If I am adding I am trying to enable users to log in to the Explorer, and instead of the groups, see the members that made those connections. It's easy fix and almost done. I will upload that tomorrow. So if you log into the Explorer, you can, instead of the seed group names, you can see the seed members who made those connections. Also, I am adding a chart. I am adding a table, a grid below the chart to provide more information about the seed groups and their progress instead of the chart in numbers, how much code, how many users they can still use their code to verify, and some statistics to below this graph.
I see. So this is showing the statistics of seed groups and the seeds. And later on, it's going to be me as a user logging in, showing the seeds that I'm connected to, right?
Instead of the seed groups, you will have a chart that the below part, here, instead of the seed groups, you can see the users, your friends. You can see Son, you can see Mono and other seeds, and the number of connections that they made. When we have all of these seed groups together, this the seed DAO management team can see that which seed groups have better progress and performance, and increase the code for them, and join their parties and help them. And if they finished, we can see even the seed groups that has no code anymore. but we can easily see if they are making connection to the new users. We can see that here and have a meet with them and increase their code to enable them more easily verify the new users.
I see. Question. As a user, if I log into into the Explorer, am I going to be able to view what connection level I have with others? Am I going to be able, like, I would be curious in finding out who has selected me as a suspicious connection. Is that possible for me to find out?
Yes, if you come back to the graph, yes, here when you log in to the Explorer, it zoom on your own node, or you can use the top filter to search and find your own node. When you click on your own node, you can see all the incoming connections and all the outgoing connections with different colors for different users. To have better view of graph, and we remove the connections that you made adjustment to have better viewpoint and not have a messy graph, but already known connections, or recovery connections, or report connection that made to report you, or you report someone. You can easily see them. And the green ones are the already known connection, the blue ones are the recovery connection, and the red ones are the connection that you report or them, or they reported you. Also, we have a direction on the edge that you can that enable you to see if you made that connection, or that connection is incoming connection to you.
Just reloaded the page.
Please select your, you reload that. If you select your node, I think all the edges should become gray, except those ones that the connections are those you made or incoming connection. Yes, here.
I see.
Here are your connections and incoming connections to you. So you can see here if someone reported you.
Yeah, that would be, I think, interesting for people who are who might be unverified and want to find out who they are connected to, and maybe someone has selected them as suspicious, and they can like reach out and say like what the reason was, and maybe try to fix that problem by like convince them that they are human and this is their only account. But yeah, this is one of the things or use cases for users of BrightID, I think. But I can feel like
I think gradually, as BrightID start growing and start using the algorithm-based anti-Sybil algorithms instead of only verifying users in the meets, as soon as we start using the algorithms, the graph and the users state in the graph start becoming more and more important. I think it is yet soon, and users may not be very interested, and graph may not be very useful for them, because they can easily come in the connection party and make a connection with the managers to become verified. But as soon as we start using for example, the connections that someone made to report you, or the number of connections, already known connection, or your position in the graph start becoming important. As soon as we have more complicated algorithms, I think the users will be more interested to see their position in the graph and find out how they can decrease their distance from the trust part of the graph. I think this usage of graph for common users will increase gradually as our algorithms will improve. But now I think this is the Explorer is very important for the seed group members, for the seed DAO managers to progress to monitor the growth of the graph and what's happening in different places, and ensure that we have a healthy growth.
Yeah, I don't know if Philip is here with us, because I know Philip has been observing the graph actively every day and following its growth. I want to know about his experience and how he has used the graph to follow the growth of BrightID. But let's ask him later. Oh, he's here. Hello. Okay, cool. And yeah, I want to know what you've been actually doing. Like, what have you been following? You told me that I can find this region that is being formed, and it's strange to me. I remember the days that you were said, okay, there was a large number of connections to this seed group, seems suspicious. What have you actually been observing in this graph?
I mean, not anything super scientific, but I sort of just look at the patterns and some of the connections. You go, well, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you know, you can sort of zoom in on some of the patterns. Now there are some where it's clearly someone actually testing. It's definitely not human. There's one right near your mouse right there. That thing is automated. You know, that's someone testing. There's no way that's people actually connecting. That's not how it would be.
I see.
You know, or there's other situations where you'll see it's not quite as obvious as that, but you'll see this dense interconnectivity in this region with just sort of one piece, like one trusted piece back, and then maybe like 3 suspicious to that region. And it's so right, they've got one trusted bridge, 3 suspicious bridges, and that's it. To me, that's an obvious attack.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Pasla, can you click on a blank part of the screen to have to unfocus on your node?
Sure. I'll try to find a place where I just did. Did I do it right?
Yes. I think this makes more sense for Philip to explain which parts were suspicious for him.
Yeah, and you know, it's frustrating when sometimes I look at a region that I believe is civil, and they're all verified anyway, because you know the connection party method is not how it's supposed to work. And I'm really eager for us to actually turn on the real algorithms and have somebody use that real algorithm, even though it means it's going to be harder. I'm eager to see it.
اجازت من چند نکته اضافه کنم آی پاسلا.
حتما.
من خواستم توضیح بدم که من شاید صدها ساعت رو الگوریتم‌های چیز کار کردم، رو الگوریتم‌هایی که گراف برایت‌آیدی آنالیز میکنن. یکی از نکات خیلی مهمی که یاد گرفتم اینه که گراف رو که میکشید، چشمی که نگاه میکنیم گراف رو، الگوریتم‌ها خیلی خوب بتونن کار بکنن، حداقل تو استیجی که ما هستیم بتونن برسن به فهمی که ما با نگاه کردن به گراف پیدا میکنیم. یعنی گراف اتوماتیک مناطق چیز رو، مناطق یعنی قسمت استاتس رو به هم دیگه نزدیک میکنه و اتوماتیک، یعنی جاهای مطمئن رو، یعنی نودهای مطمئن رو اتوماتیک به هم نزدیک میکنه و نودهای غیر مطمئن رو هم اتوماتیک به هم دیگه نزدیک میکنه. یعنی واقعا با نگاه کردن خیلی خوب میشه تشخیص داد که کجای گراف مشکوکه و کجای گراف چیزه و این من فکر کنم حالا ادامه خواهد داشت. یعنی میگم چشم ما وقتی به گراف نگاه میکنیم خیلی خوبتر از الگوریتم ها میتونه تشخیص بده. یعنی الگوریتم ما اگه بتونیم بگیم که مثل چشممون تشخیص بدن، خیلی چیز کردیم، برد کردیم.
I want to watch Philip's face when I'm saying this. Mehdi says he has been spending hundreds of hours working on the algorithms that are analyzing this graph. And he says in his mind, the best that the algorithms can do is figuring out this graph close to what we can see with our naked eye at the moment. So if they work really well, they can get close to what we can actually observe by ourselves without even having an algorithm. But what they are doing is doing that automatically by themselves without having someone manually doing that and implementing his ideas. But right now they are trying to figure out what we are actually seeing by ourselves and finding out the trustable parts of the graphs and getting them closer and figuring out which parts are or automatically the showing that these parts are seem to be attacks, these parts seem to be the trustable parts of the graph.
Yeah,
and then
I'm eager to improve the information that we're giving to Maddie and the algorithms by, I think that the levels that we have now don't provide enough information. It's tricky to figure out from a user interface kind of situation, but I want to tell it, these accounts I deeply believe are valid, or this account I deeply believe it is valid, and I deeply believe that it will make accurate other selections down the line. And that's one of the things that we're starting to work with Raid Guild, is to build a tool that people can give that extra information to and have it based, sort of have their reputation and maybe an economic game be driven off of that. If I can accurately label things in the long run and it proves out, and we can use time as the measuring stick, that you should pay more. If I prove to be good at it, you should pay more attention to my opinions. And if I prove to be bad at it, you should pay less attention to my opinions.
I see your point. Yeah, and like as Maddie said, like we as observers of this graph, we can have some idea based on the connections that we have with others. We have some information that we can share, and having the metanode idea implemented, I think can help a lot for improving the interpretation of this social graph.
یکی از چیزایی که فکر میکنم کمک میکنه به ما اینه که اگر ما بتونیم هر چقدر بتونیم ابزارهای بهتری در اختیار تمام کسانی که مثل فیلیپ علاقه دارن که این گراف بهش اتک نشه، ابزارهای بیشتری ارائه بدیم، چارت‌های بیشتر، دیتای شسته رفته تر، هر چقدر بتونیم از این دیتاها یعنی ابزار در اختیار قرار بدیم برای کسانی که علاقه‌مندن به سیفتی این گراف، فکر میکنم حتی خیلی شاید اونقدر که یعنی شاید من 3 سال پیش فکر میکردم که الگوریتم چیز میکنه، اگر دیتای آبگیری شده، دیتایی که اسعارش در اومده رو ما بتونیم در اختیار افرادی که علاقمندن قرار بدیم، خیلی فکر میکنم راحت هست که الگوهای اتک رو تشخیص بدن و اینها رو چیز بکنن. یعنی اگر اون روشی رو که فیلیپ پیشنهاد میده ما پیاده سازی بکنیم، اتک خیلی فوق العاده سخت میشه به گراف اگر ما دیتای خوبی در اختیار کسانی قرار بدیم که علاقه‌مندن به حفظ سیفتی. برای همین من خیلی علاقه دارم که روز به روز ما بتونیم اکسپلورر رو فیچرهای بیشتر، ریپورت های بیشتر، چارت های بیشتری بهش اد بکنیم که ابزارهای بیشتری در اختیار کسانی قرار بدیم که میخوان اظهار نظر بکنن و میخوان مانیتور بکنن این رشد گراف برایت.
Maddie is telling us that he believes the more features and tools that we have in the social graph and in the Explorer, more charts that we can create, clear data that we can add there, it would help a lot for the users who are interested in providing their take on the social graph, providing their interpretations. And so he believes that it actually helps a lot more than the algorithms. If we can have more curated data here in the Explorer, providing it for people who are interested in participating in making this social graph more secure and verifying users in a more secure way. He says that if we do that for those users and we encourage those kind of users to participate in interpreting this social graph, attacking this the BrightID system is going to be much harder and more difficult than just relying on the algorithms themselves. That's basically what he said. I hope I'm not missing out some parts.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Sure, thanks.
I've got a question about the graph. So two questions, I think. So what determines like the length of the edge? Is that just like to spread things out so we can see it better, or is the length of a connection like have something to do with the strength of the connection? And also, I saw in the drop-down list that there's a bunch of different categories, and there's a section where it's level, like level 0, level 1, level 2. Can we talk about what those levels mean?
You mean ranks?
Rank, yeah.
در مورد طول اجرا ما هیچ وزدهی نمی کنیم، کانکشن ها رو چیز میکنیم، کانکشن ها رو یه گراف باش رسم میکنیم، اما وقتی که شما مثلا 10 تا کانکشن یه جایی داشته باشید و یک کانکشن یه جایی دورتری داشته باشید، اون 10 تا کانکشن نود شما رو میکشن به سمت منطقه خودشون و لاجرم بعضی از کانکشن هایی که به جاهایی که خیلی مربوط نیستید گرفتیم، کانکشن هایی که زدید به اونجاها، کانکشن های لنگسشون طولانی تر میشه. این باعث میشه که به صورت اتوماتیک وقتی گرافو داریم به عنوان یه چیز فیزیکال رندر میکنیم، بر اساس همین قانونی که گفتم، اتوماتیک هر نودی نزدیک میشه به اون منطقه‌ای که واقعا باهاش آشنایی بیشتری داره و باهاش کانکشن‌های بیشتری داره. در نتیجه اون منطقه سکیوریه، شما به احتمال زیاد آدم ریلایبلی هستید. اگر اون منطقه سرخیه در واقع یا ریپورت توش زیاده، یعنی شما آدم ریلایبل نیستید و این کم کم داخل الگوریتم‌هایی که بعداً میان اینا، اینکه شما کدوم ور نزدیکی به چه منطقه‌هایی مهم میشه. پس طول یک تابعی، اگر شما یه تعداد زیاد کانکشن با یه جای خاصی داشته باشید، نودتون میاد اونجا، کانکشنایی که به جای دورتری دارید قاطعاً طولشون طولانی تر میشه.
I hope I got it right. So we're basically not weighing the connections of BrightID users. So the lengths are not showing the connection level that you have with the user. It doesn't have to do with that. But if you have like 10 connections with these people and they are interconnected with each other and they are like in a green zone, you automatically show up in the graph or graphically rendered closer to these nodes. But if you have like 2 connections with these 2 other people that are in a different zone of the graph based on their connections themselves, the graphic rendering is showing you closer to those 10 connections that are in the green zone rather than those 2 that are closer to another region of the graph based on their connection. So that's basically how the lengths are working, but they're not showing the strength of your connection to those people.
بگم اگر الان شما یکی از نودها رو بگیرید یه خورده جابجاش بکنید، باز گراف شروع میکنه پوزیشن ها رو اصلاح کردن. ما برای که خیلی سنگین بود زود اینو در واقع خاموشش میکنیم، اما برای که اگه بخوید لوکیشن دقیق تری داشته باشید، همین الان شما پاسا شما دارید اسکرین شیر میکنید.
آره.
یکی از نودها رو بگیرید یه خورده تکون بدید، گراف پوزیشناشو چیز میکنه، یه مقدار اصلاح میکنه.
Matt is telling me that if I drag one of the nodes, it will always like reposition everyone else according to that node for me. So it's not just like if I just keep dragging this person. I don't know what is happening, but yeah.
یکی از نودها، همین یکی از این عکس ها رو بگیرید و یه خورده جابجاش بکنید. کلیک کردید الان؟
آره. کلیک کنم روشون.
روی یکیشون آره، بعد بگیریدش، کلیک کنید بگیریدش و درگش بکنید. یکی از عکس ها، همین عکس ها فرق نمیکنه، همین صورت هایی که اینجا لود شدن.
I'm trying to I just clicked on this person.
آها، الان میبینید باز نودا شروع میکنن تکون خوردن.
And it is just repositioned if I click on it and drag it.
این رندره این زمان میبره و این کار سنگینیه، اما کمک میکنه که پوزیشن های گراف بهتر و بهتر بشه هر چقدر که بیشتر رندر بکنیم. اما شما رو میاره تو اون منطقه های احتمالاً میذاره که کانکشن های بیشتری، ارتباطات بیشتری ده. در مورد اون فیلتر بالا، ما انواع اقسام دسته ها داریم. یکی از دسته ها الگوریتم، این رنک 1 رنک 2 که نوشته مال الگوریتم یکتا هست. کم کم الگوریتمی که دیگه اضافه بشه ما با انتخاب اینا روشن میکنه و خاموش میکنه اونایی که مثلا تونستن رنک 2 رو بگیرن یا رنک 3 رو بگیرن. این یکی از دسته‌بندیایی که اون فیلتر باکس بالا میتونه به ما کمک بکنه. دسته‌بندی دیگه ای هم هست، ریژن ها، مثلا اون کسایی که مثلا تو ریژن مثلا هر کدوم از این سید گروپ ها هستن هم میتونیم فیلتر بکنیم، یا اگر لاگین کرده باشیم حالا یه نود خاص رو میتونیم انتخاب کنیم یا گروپ هامون رو میتونیم انتخاب کنیم. انواع اقسام دیتا هایی که میشه چیز کرد اینا همه یه جا جمع شده و میتونه به ما کمک بکنه. اما اون رنگ های یک الگوریتم یکتا هست. الان شما اون یک از رنگ ها رو انتخاب بکنید، مثلا رنگ 3 پلاس رو انتخاب کنید، احتمالاً 10-15 نفری اون کسایی که روشن باقی میمونن چیز هستن، یعنی در واقع کسانی هستن که این رنگ رو تونستن بگیرن.
Yeah, Maddie is telling us about these ranks here, which are these 5 ranks are they have to do with the Yekta algorithm that we use on BrightID, and these are different the verification level based on that algorithm. We can add different algorithms here in this menu as well. So when you click on that rank, you only see those people that are that belong to that rank. You can also take a look at different regions, which are showing people that are connected to a certain seed group. Philip has a question, Jorin also, but
yeah. So a request, if you're logged in and you know the person's face and you click on those algorithms, it does not highlight that picture. I wish it did.
دقیقاً وقتی لاگین هستید درست دیسیبل و انیبل نمیکنه، اما وقتی لاگین نباشید، الان اگه لاگ اوت بکنید رنگا رو درست نشون میده وقتی که سلکت میکنید. حالا این هم یه در واقع چیزیه، یعنی باگیه که بعد برطرف بشه که ما وقتی دیسیبل میکنیم خاکستری میکنیم اون صورت ها هم خاکستری، اونجایی که لاگین کردیم صورت ها هم خاکستری. اما آره دقیقاً همونجوری که فیلیپ میگه الان درست چیز نمیکنه، اینا رو دیسیبل نمیکنه موقعی که لاگین هستید. اما اگه لاگ اوت باشید کامل نشون میده، اونایی رو فقط روشن میذاره که به قولن مثلا
Maddie was telling me that it works better when you're logged out and it's not showing the pictures. The colors are showing better. But yeah, that's something that he should work on and give us the highlights with the pictures there. I was wondering why, like, I was clicking on like rank 4 and it was still the same thing. But I hope like right now, if I click on rank 4, now it makes more sense. Now I see colors here.
And I encourage any of y'all, come at me. I have the highest Yetka score that there is, and I encourage y'all to bring it.
Just you? Or
Well,
is
I
it
mean,
just
well,
you and Adam?
Adam also has 5, but then there's some kind of sub score involved. There's a raw rank.
And this is Adam and Philip that has 5 score, and everyone. I think soon after maybe 1 year, when we start using the algorithms, people find out that they should try to increase their rank constantly, and be making connection with everyone that has BrightID and they trust to have more connections with better parts of the graph. This help them to have higher rank in different algorithms.
So what kind of parameters are going into the Yitka score? Like how would one increase their rank?
خب ما الگوریتم‌های مختلفی داریم و داریم با اینا چیز میکنیم، کار میکنیم و تست میکنیم. یعنی برایتدی به یک الگوریتم خاص محدود نیست، اما خب قطعا اکثر الگوریتم ها پارامترهایی رو که لحاظ میکنن تعداد کانکشن های شما هست، کیفیت، یعنی کانکشن های شما با جاهای خوب بیشتر رو شما کمک میکنه تا کانکشن شما با جای بد، و ریپورت نشدن شما. این قطعا دیتایی هست که انواع اقسام الگوریتم ها روش تکیه میکنن.
Maddie says there are different algorithms, but Yekta, as he supposes most of other algorithms, would focus on 3 factors at least: number of connections that someone has, the quality of those connections, meaning connections to the trustable regions of the graph, and the third thing is being reported or not being reported by other users. These are the main 3 factors that they are relying on. But this is not limited just to these 3 factors. Every algorithm might have. Yeah, but yeah, as he says, there's always a competition between different algorithms that are trying to figure out their unique accounts based on their rules and interpretations.
So what I'm hearing is all we have to do is report Phil and he'll be dropped down from rank. So it's not just kidding.
So be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, Philip is gonna kill the squirrel if you keep talking about that. But yeah,
and I have been reported. All us stars have been reported a number of times.
Of course. I'm curious about questions that the others might have, and I want to take a look at those. Oh, I see a question in Farsi. I think so. He's basically asking that if there are different algorithms, so there should be a server somewhere that would analyze this information and like verify users based on all the data that it's getting. I think that's because of a wrong interpretation of how BrightID actually works. It's not a consensus of all the algorithms that are analyzing this graph. It's rather applications selecting one of the algorithms that they find most suitable for their use case. So some application might select this algorithm and consider these users as verified. Some other application might select another algorithm, but there is no unified one truth to the social graph. There can always be different interpretations for different applications. I hope that that is the correct answer, and that makes it clear for our friend Mehdi here. I'm curious about any other questions. I want to start a connection party after this, if there are no other questions. But I think this the social graph and the explorer can be a very cool tool. I don't know how we can improve it so it is rendered easier, because it takes a long time, at least for me, to load, and it's just so slow, the animations and stuff like that. And as Mehdi said, the more the clear and the full of features it gets, the better we can use it, and the more interesting it gets for everyone just to take a look at.
Yeah, so something I think that's still an unsolved problem that actually relates both to analyzing the graph and to showing the graph is there a way to show a simplified view, or to just consider a subset of the graph? The thing that makes it hard with a social graph is very quickly, I mean, you may have heard of 6 degrees of separation, but it's actually less than that when you look at social networks. It's between 3 and 4 hops that you can usually reach everyone else in the network. So it's really hard to say like, okay, I only want to compute, or I only want to view like a small section that I care about, because very quickly you get the whole graph. So that's, but you know, that's still something we can think about. Is there like a compact view that still makes sense in some way?
Mm-hmm. Cool. I think people are not asking questions. I think it's like there are so many questions, but no one is. It's definitely interesting to look at. Thank you. But yeah, please observe it, because this is like a child. I think, I'm sure it's about for Adam, for Philip, for Maddie himself. It has been like a child that has been growing and growing from a very small the baby now to a baby that has
A big baby.
10,000 users. How would I say that?
Yeah, but I think that once Philip and I and others get their way, and users are allowed to stake money on their beliefs on the graph, I think there'll be a whole lot more questions. Once people are like, oh, I can make money by doing a good job of this, I think we will be flooded with questions of like, how do I do this right? How do I make sure that I'm labeling the graph correctly? So for now, people are just sitting on the sidelines, which is fine. But the time is coming hopefully soon where people will get to say, okay, this part of the graph is people making fake accounts, and I'm willing to put some money down to share that opinion.
Cool. I think it would be a good point to call it a day for the Explorer tool. I'm gonna stop recording now, and I want to thank Maddie and Adam to explain it to us. I think it's a much more complicated tool than we think it is, but thank you for trying to make it clear to us. And yeah, I want to thank everyone for being here. I'm going to stop recording now so we can start a group connection together. And we are